Good morning, America. I sound like Robin Williams, don't I? It's actually the anniversary of his birthday. So happy birthday, Robin Williams. That was unintentional, but he was my hero. Anyway, welcome to our Chime webinar for the month of August 2018. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Gary Parker. I'm one of the senior account executives here at Chime. I've been here for about 10 months, but my background is in marketing automation and lead generation for about the last 15 years. And there are a bunch of principles that I think that can really be recognized in real estate and really any business. And I'll get into those. I do have a special guest with me. I know where my strengths are, and I know when I need to surround myself with smart people. So I brought on Mr. Scott Rice, who will be joining us. He's one of our product solutions experts. Scott, say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Hey, you like that? He's not just a trained puppet either. He's super, super smart. I'm very attractive, although he's not working right now. You're gonna have to take my word. But anyway, I really appreciate you being here, and I am fully aware that you're here for one of two reasons. One is you're in real estate. You're either looking for a CRM and lead generation, or you have one and you're looking to optimize it. You're the kind of person who's willing to make an investment in time so that you can get to the level where you know you should be and can realize those successes. You don't want to be a statistic. You know, we've all heard the numbers of real estate agents who don't make it past the second year if they get past the first year. You're either that person or you're the one whose boss told you that you need to get on this darn webinar. And either way, my goal is to give you some value. Whether or not you join the Chime family, if you're not already with us, my goal is to give you some takeaways that you can use to improve your lead capture, to improve your conversion, to improve your referrals. And then hopefully one day you come back and you know, that guy who had the amazing gray hair, he was super, super smart, and I should probably call him to find out more. Anyway, enough with the jokes. I do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you have questions, please text those in the chat room, or you can hold up your hand, and we'll try to get to those towards the end of the webinar. Here to answer as many as I can, and if we don't get to them during this webinar, I'll make sure to personally reach out to you so that we can have that discussion. Some things are bouncing up on my screen here and distracting me. So, but yeah, shoot those out to me. This is not a one-sided event, and we'll get the ball rolling. Again, thank you for joining us. So this is called 5 Fast Ways to Build Your Real Estate Business. And the first thing that I want to start on here is building out a smart plan. What is a smart plan, and how do you set one up? Well, a smart plan is the terminology we use within Chime, but the rest of the world knows it as marketing automation. Perhaps you've used something like this in the past, and the idea is, as a new lead comes into your database, into your Chime CRM, you want to make sure that that lead is getting followed up with on a regular basis, and that you're doing all of those tasks that are necessary to make sure that you're moving them quickly through the funnel to the point of, well, in your example, getting the paper signed and the keys handed off to the right person, right? And generating that commission. But it's really about making sure that you're staying in front of those people who might not otherwise be picking up the phone to talk to you. What happens is we spend a lot of time engaging people. Takes a lot of money and a lot of effort to get them to even show relative interest, right? And then when you get that lead, you call them, they don't answer, you call them, they don't answer, you call them, they don't answer. And if it stops there, it stops there. The average salesperson or realtor makes 2 to 3 attempts, when it takes 7 to 10 attempts or touches to turn that person into a customer or client. Okay, but how do you do that and make sure that you're not taking away from the ones who do need those phone calls, but make sure that the other ones don't die on the vine, right? The fruit doesn't die on the vine. That's where a smart plan comes in. What I tell people, and I'm going to kind of step back here. I was telling you that what we're going to talk about today is relevant in pretty much anything, whether you're selling widgets online or you're selling houses. There are 5 things I believe that anybody needs to do to be successful in business. The first one is you need to educate people as to why you are better than anybody else who does what you do. That's the first thing. Second is when you're in front of them and you educate them, you need to capture their information so that you can follow up. So educate, capture. The third one is win the business, right? Convince them that you're amazing, get that conversation going, go to that listing appointment, get the listing. Fourth is wow them. Make sure that you're doing everything that you promised and more. Making sure that you're following up on the steps that are necessary. Everything from getting this paperwork signed or getting the appraiser out to the house or whatever needs to happen is happening real time. They feel like they're getting personalized attention and they're not one of 1,000 people that you're working with. Okay, so that's the fourth thing is wow. And then fifth is get that referral, right? We all know that in real estate, the referrals are your bread and butter. How are you getting them? Are you getting referrals because you're amazing? Or are you getting referrals because you're actually proactively asking for referrals? Because when you get them because you're amazing, but you're not asking, that's called accidentally successful. And we love accidentally successful, but can you imagine how many referrals you could get if you had a smart plan or a marketing automation plan that was in place to specifically stay in front of and ask for referrals on a regular basis and an appropriate basis? It's not about hammering them every week asking for a referral. It's about finding important dates, important events that allow you to say one thing and follow up with an ask. You know what I mean? So if you know it's their birthday and an email automatically goes out to them and says, happy birthday, by the way, who else do you know who needs a home, right? Or it's been 1 year since they got the keys to their new house. Congratulations, it's been 1 year. It was so amazing working with you. If your friends are like you, I would absolutely love to work with them. Do you have a name and a number? Maybe even incentivizing them. I have one agent in California who actually takes all of her referrals, and the people who refer get put into a drawing for a $100 restaurant gift certificate. She gets more referrals than any agent I know, and it cost her $100. And what's that worth to you? What's the average home value in your area, and what's your commission take on that? So anyway, digressing. What is a smart plan? So I'm going to actually get out of here real quick, and I'm going to go into my my actual CRM application, and I'm going to take you into what a smart plan looks like. So we can take a look at that. And let me expand my screen here. How do I expand my screen here? I think you guys can see it. So I'm going to go over here to my gear widget, and I'm going to go to the smart plan button, and we're going to add new. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time going into the minutia here because you guys probably understand what I'm talking about. But the idea is we're going to name this. So let's say that you have an open house on Saturday over at 1313 Mockingbird Lane, right? And you get 50 new leads from it because it just goes gangbusters and everybody wants your lemon cookies, right? So we'll call it open house on September 1st or whatever the date is there. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to start a smart plan, and we're going to decide who's going to be a part of this smart plan. And this is where we can say any new leads that we generated from that event, okay, from that open house. Now, besides the importance of making sure that you're staying in front of somebody on a regular basis, it's also important that you stop sending a particular message if they've accomplished a goal. So for example, if you get a lead that comes in from this open house, every email and every phone call and every text message that you're going to send in one way or another is going to say, please talk to me, please call me, please call me, please call me, right? Well, if that lead calls you, or that lead replies to an email with questions, or that lead text messages you back with questions, or gives you a decision on whether or not they want to continue conversation, we want to make sure that they stop getting the please call me, please call me, please call me push, right? So it's important to have that off button, if you will. So right here within Chime, we're going to have this auto pause feature where I can say, hey, if this person replies to an email, or they text me, or they give me a call or a note a call, I want it to stop that. But it doesn't end there. Because just because they text us back does not mean we want to stop reaching out to them at all. It just means we want a different message to go out. So if they talk to us on the phone, I no longer want to say, talk to me. I want to say, thank you for talking to me. And then I want a series of other actions to happen. So what'll basically be happening is right now we have them in a new lead smart plan. And now we're moving them into a slightly warmer smart plan, something that recognizes our engagement and how we got to know one another. And then it asks for that next step. So if I've had a brief conversation, but I haven't set up a listing appointment, all of my follow-up is going to be guiding them to setting up that listing appointment. Once I have the listing appointment, they either say, hey, let's do this, and great, now I've got the plan of action, the SMART plan, that is all the series of actions we need to take in following up on that listing. And if we have a good meeting, but they don't sign up, we're not sure, they need time to think about it, then it's going to be intermittent text messages or phone calls or emails that say, hey, again, it was nice meeting you. Here's what we had talked about. Here's something else I just thought of that you might dig, that kind of a thing. Does that make sense? I see you all nodding your head. I don't really, but I'm assuming that I'm not just babbling. Scott, do you have anything to add so far on that? And then I'll get into like 1 minute of how you actually set up the dates and such.
The only thing that I would really add is that the power of a smart plan or a system like this is that it's multifaceted. It's not just an email touch, or it's not just a text message touch. It's you have the ability to incorporate in automated options, which is that auto email, auto text message, but you also have the opportunity to create reminders so that you can reach out voice to voice, make that phone call, or in case of the other, being able to send out maybe a birthday card or just a note saying, hey, thank you so much for your business. How's the new home? Just wanted to touch base and see if there's anything I can do for you. And if you felt my service was great, do you know anybody that might be interested? It's an opportunity to automate personal touch in a way that your recipient is not feeling like they are on some kind of system. Exactly. And then the only other thing I would add is that with smart plans aren't just an external facing tool, but also an opportunity to build workflows within your organization so that your transaction coordinator or the other agent, if you've got a buyer and seller agent, everybody is in sync and running the same game plan to help move the business forward. So smart plans, in Chime, you might hear them as drip campaigns or action plans with other systems, but the smart plan in Chime really incorporates all abilities to coordinate internally and market externally.
Absolutely. So it's making sure that you're just to reiterate what Scott was talking about, is it's making sure that everybody's on the same page in your office. I mean, if you're a single user, it's making sure you're staying on top of it. But if there are other people, you need to know where somebody's at so that you're not stepping on other people's toes and things are getting completed at the rate that they should be completed. And like I said, I mean, on the early stages, the main thing is staying in front of those people who won't pick up the darn phone. I don't know how to say it more plainly. That's so important. It's about stirring the pot so the cream rises to the top. You can skim that off, but there's something still churning it at all times, making sure that it doesn't settle and burn. As far as setting up the smart plan, I'll take like 30 seconds here. You decide what the first action is, and maybe immediately when you get that new lead, they go to your website, they fill out a form. For example, immediately I want an email to go out, and you can come over here and choose what email. You can drop in a template if you want. So I can just check on that. And let's see here. I got to move this. And let's say we want to send them that. Okay. And then we come down here to add a step. And then we say, okay, well, we sent them an email the minute we got that new lead. Now let's wait maybe 2 days, right? And this time we'll send them another text message or another email, or maybe I want to send them a text message, or maybe I want to create a task for me to call them today, whatever that is. And we can go as deep as we want. So a message on day 1, a message day 3, a text on day 5, a phone call on day 7. You get the idea. And I digress there, but let me see if I can get back to the slides here. Boom. All right. So I really am going to ask Scott's input on this because he's got some great ideas here about building your pipeline and using groups. Now, a lot of people get confused on what a pipeline is and what a group is. And Scott, if you wouldn't mind giving me that example, you were talking about referrals and how sometimes people can confuse the two and how important it is to make sure that you're not confusing the two.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So, here at Chime, we have the opportunity to speak to a lot of individuals that, run the whole gamut of the spectrum. Either they're brand new into real estate and they're trying to build a foundational system that will help them stay on track and close business. We talk to other people that have used, similar platforms to Chime or are familiar with, CRM or lead management, business development platforms. The biggest roadblock or hurdle that we run into when we're setting up or helping people or training people on setting up their Chime system is, first and foremost, defining the difference between a pipeline versus a group. In our system, and Gary can show you here in a second, but you have the ability. We do not predetermine how you're going to run your business and how you're going to run your pipeline. Or how you're going to set up your groups. You have the ability to fully customize your groups and your pipelines. What I want to emphasize and what I spoke to Gary about earlier was the fact that when you're looking at pipeline, the pipeline is really your actionable steps from new lead through escrow. So it's anything that's actionable. It's attempted contact. It's contacted working. It's listing agreement listing presentation, listing agreement signed, showings, offer extended, so on and so forth. It's all those steps that are actionable that show progress through that pipeline until that client has closed or completed escrow. Groups, on the other hand, are more of a marketing bucket. Groups can be the descriptors of the different people or leads or contacts that you want to market to in specific ways. So you might have your first-time home buyers, you might have your referrals, you might have your past clients, you might have your hot clients, your sellers, your buyers, investment property owners,
open houses, yeah.
Any group that describes a type of lead that you have, those are the buckets that you want to put people in, because when you're developing your smart plans or your marketing strategy, you might send different content or different information depending on the group that they're in. Now, the nice thing about Chime also is that you don't have to figure out which bucket or which group best fits a lead. They can be in multiple groups. So the other power of the smart plans and of the ability to create the groups that fit your strategy is that you can send out different marketing content to the same people, but it's relevant to who they are and what they're looking to do. So in terms of organizing and creating a strong business development plan, adding groups and adding the right pipeline statuses sets you up foundationally for success, because now you have the framework as to how you're going to market. And then once you capture those clients or those leads and turn them into clients, how you're going to move them through the process until they either, buy a property or the property you've listed is sold and you're moving on to the next transaction.
Kind of an analogy I use on this. I mean, it's so important that you're not only staying in front of people, but when you're sending them something, you're sending them the right something. You know what I mean? So being able to personalize things. So if you have a group that is Zillow leads, and you know that everybody who has that tag came from Zillow, the ability to say something in your automated messages that says something to the effect of, thanks for finding us on Zillow, or we really appreciate our Zillow people, or whatever that is. Or if it's a referral, hey, you know what, you were referred, and if you're a friend of any of our clients, it means the world to us, and we're going to work extra hard to wow you, kind of a thing. But what I tell people is, if you don't use the group tag correctly, imagine if you walked onto a car lot with your 15 children and your wife, and you're looking at the big passenger vans. You didn't buy, you left, and every time they sent you an email afterwards, it was about the new Corvette. Now, the new Corvette may be amazing, but there's no way you're getting all your kids in there. It just absolutely doesn't make any sense to you. It's not personalized. You feel like you're part of a blast system, and that they really don't care about you. So being able to know where you're at when you follow the pipeline, like what have I done? What have I accomplished? What do I still need to accomplish? And then what group? What should I be saying to these people, whether it be when I'm on the phone with them or they're getting that automation? When you have those two things locked down, you're not only going to convert more, but you're going to convert more quickly. People aren't going to sit on the fence. And in the real estate game, you can't sit on the fence because people make their minds up quickly, and everybody knows 17 realtors. What makes you different? And you have a very short window of time to prove that. And so you want to speak accordingly. Anything else to say about the pipeline management there, Scott? I think you really dug in pretty well, but.
I think that it's something that you might, as an agent, not figure out exactly what works best for you in the beginning, and that's okay. And you have an opportunity as you dial in and as you get to a point where you feel like you've got the right strategy and the right flow. The nice thing about Chime and our system is that it can change as you grow. It's not really. It's really uncapped in terms of how you can use it and how you can expand it to fit your needs. So, we love it.
I'm gonna kind of go out. I don't have a script. I was an improv comedian for 10 years, guys. So I never work with a script, which is sometimes a downfall. But I'm gonna ask you a question that's off the cuff here, and I hope I'm not overstepping or whatever out too far out the box here, Scott. But what do you say to that person? Because I'm imagining myself on the other side. And I'm thinking, man, this thing is powerful. It has so many different things that it does, but I don't have the first clue what I should do. Like, I am just totally blind to this. You know what I mean? Like, what do you say to that person? Like, I love what you're saying. I totally agree with you're saying, but I'm not a painter and you're giving me a canvas and a brush,
So that's great. So I'm an Apple guy. And I don't know if I think this is
fruit's good. Any kind of fruit.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fruit, but in terms of product, user interface and the adoption, the technology adoption is a huge part of the success of any software or any technological device or application.
Sure.
If you gave me an Android phone and told me this is powerful, you can program it, you can make it do whatever you want, short of laundering your clothing, I would literally run the other way and curl up in a ball. It can be overwhelming. Mm-hmm. This is what I like about Apple products. And this is, there are people on this line that are Apple people and there are people on this line that are Android people. But what I like about Apple products is that it's intuitive and it's easy to get going, and the whole backbone of Chime and what we've built our success plan upon is giving you a system that can grow with you. So whether you've been in real estate or this is your first CRM or you're a pro, the system can cater to what you needed to do at this point in time. Now, what that means is that we are committed as your team and as your partner to help give you the pointers and advice that you need to get going and to see an initial ROI in terms of the time that you're investing into this platform. So how I became a product expert in Chime was working side by side with my customers and my clients to help give them ideas and opportunities and consult them through the process of building that foundation. It's the same thing if you're building a home. Maybe you have all the desire in the world to build your own home, but you don't know how to frame a house. Well, you have to get with people that know how to do this, and they help you with that aspect of it. So, when you're looking into Chime or when you're looking into a system like this, working with a consultant, a sales consultant that you feel can help you to succeed in this is an important aspect of choosing a system. And we might be a fit for you and we might not. Everybody's going to fit with a different type of setup, right? Just like I'm not an Android guy. I could be the best technology out there, but it's not going to work for me. So, there's a phrase and we use it probably, over and over till it's really annoying to say, but the best CRM out there is the one you'll use.
You're right.
Hope that we've created we hope that we've created a user interface that will allow more people to use and implement it sooner, which hopefully will lead to a quicker ROI on the investment of your time.
Absolutely. There are so many, of course, maybe you guys haven't heard of it, but there's a little CRM called Salesforce. I've worked in CRM now for about 7 of my 15 years in this business. And I come across Salesforce a lot. And to be honest with you, if you have a giant team and a huge budget, it plugs into everything and anything. It's pretty amazing. The cost is definitely going to be much higher. But to be honest with you, the majority of people I know that use that system use about 2% of it. It's hard to navigate. It's not intuitive by any means. And it's buying that 15 passenger van when the only time you're ever going to use it is the weekends to get groceries, and it's just you and your spouse. So I think that what we've done is really build something that is specific to real estate, and we understand the specific needs of real estate agents. And that's everything from having the functionality of, pulling in MLS information or tracking revenue or setting up smart plans, all that important stuff, but also understanding that our audience didn't go to MIT. That they're not the type that are going to go in and build their own system. So it has to be intuitive. You have to understand it. And if you don't use it, it doesn't matter how inexpensive it is. It's not going to be effective, So I can dig it, Scott. Let's move on to the next piece here. So we talked about the smart plan. We talked about building out the pipeline. Next is customizing your IDX website for best lead generation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull up an IDX website here that we've built out. And there are tons of different things that you can do to make sure that you're capturing leads and that you have the ability to follow through. And I think one of the primary mistakes that people make when they build either an IDX website or a basic website for their business is that they spend so much time and money in making this beautiful website, but they don't gate anything. They give it away for free. You can go to somebody's website and you can look around for an hour and a half and leave, and the person that owns that website has absolutely no idea that you were ever there. And I'll tell you right now, they didn't get to your website by accident. They didn't fall on their keyboard and type in New Home Santa Barbara, right? They got to your website. They did a little bit of research. They got to your website. And the odds are if they look around and leave and you don't know who they were, they're using another agent. So we need to make sure that they're using you, or at least you're getting your foot in the door so you can have a conversation to win that business. And that's what I mean by gating. One of the things that we do here is that we allow you, when we're building out the IDX site, or you can go in there and actually modify it on your own. But the first thing that we want to do is it plugs into your MLS. So it's automatically pulling feed, right? It's automatically pulling in all those homes that are in Santa Barbara, 4 bedroom, 5 bath, that are between $1 and $2 million, because that's what the client was looking for. It automatically pulls that up. But we allow you to modify your page to make sure that it's your listings that are at the top. So that's the first thing we want to do. We want to make sure that those are the first opportunities. If you have homes that fit the bill, we want to make sure that yours are the first ones that they look at. The second thing that we do is if they come in here and they want to look at this, they've got to tell us who they are, or we're not going to give them that information. So we allow them to plug in through Facebook or to enter their email address or whatever that is. Now you can set up a rule that they can look at the first house without telling us who they are, but if they look at 2, they have to tell us, or 3, they have to tell us. You can figure that out for yourself. In my opinion, let's gate it up front. But I do have people who will pull up the argument that the more you ask for, the less likely you are to receive. But I'll tell you right now, you're going to lose less people that way than you would if you don't gate it. They look at everything, they leave, and you have no clue that they were ever there other than Google Analytics telling you that you had 100 visitors last week. 100 unknown visitors is worth zip, right? We've got to know who they are. So that's a second thing that we do. Scott, you had some pretty nifty ideas on increasing your lead capture on the IDX website. Could you kind of go into some of that?
Yeah, so I'm just going to talk through it. You know, the nice thing about an IDX website is that, you know, like Gary said, you really don't have to stress too much about how it looks. And I know there's a lot of people on this line that are cringing right now, but 90% of the traffic that is going to your website is going to that search bar right under that Moving Billions Group logo or title right there. So don't get too balled up in the fact that your website is templated or that it's not, you know, the prettiest. You didn't spend $30,000 on it. I know a lot of agents that have done that, and they're not getting any more value. In fact, with the, you know, their ROI on it is much lower than something that is going to be integrated into a platform like Chime or some of our competitors. Now, I have a lot of people that will ask me about lead generation, and they're interested in paid lead generation. And you know, we do paid lead generation, and we do it really, really well through print or digital marketing. But you as an agent with an IDX website have the ability to do a high amount of organic lead generation through your own efforts that doesn't cost you any more money than just what you've spent on the platform. Our website allows you to embed pixels on it so that you can push your featured listings or any listing that is tied into your MLS out through a Facebook, an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, Yelp. I think we're up to about 15 to 20 different pixels that you can embed on the website that will allow you to push information out. Now, the nice thing about this is that you have a sphere of influence or a group of friends through your social media profiles, but the opportunity to get that data out into a larger number of people is very, very good, because if anybody likes or shares the post that you make, those are now going out to their sphere and their friend sphere.
To dummy it down a little bit, so basically what you're saying is, if this is my featured listing and I wanted to, I could just click on here and then click on the Facebook icon, and it's going to share information about that home onto my Facebook page, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it creates a nice little blurb. You have an opportunity, just like with any post on Facebook, to say something brief, but then, you know, you've shot it out in the ether, and really, at the end of the day, it's up for grabs by people that, you know, maybe 3 or 4 times removed from your initial sphere or your initial group of people. And then the other,
share that as well. The potential home buyer could share that as well by clicking a button.
Yes. Yeah. So people on your website have the opportunity, if they like something, they can do the same thing. So they're marketing for you. Another feature, and I'll have Gary go to this if he will, in our buying section, we have the polygonal search function, or the geographical mapping function that most of you have on the back end of your MLS. We've put that customer facing. And the main reason for this is that, you know, people are doing a lot of their research online. They're very savvy. They know what they want. And they're a very educated group. So you're not always getting to them when they're just in the very, very early stages of finding a home or deciding where they want to live. Now, with this mapping function that is customer facing, you as the agent have the opportunity to create your own boundaries within these map functions and pushing out the URL for that search across your social media or outside of your system. The example that I like to use, if you're in an area where the market is very volatile, or you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction and it's kind of the new hot place to live, listings will come on the market very, very fast. They'll go off the market very, very fast. And so, you know, if you wanted to push out a Facebook post that said, hey, check out such and such development, you know, more homes are coming online every day, whatever it may be. I'm a horrible person when it comes to the pros, but the idea behind this is that when they click on that link or that posts that you put out, they're going to be directed back to this page on your website, where the most recent homes are going to show, and they have the opportunity then to start their search. Now, this is all great, and it helps make your website sticky. But in terms of SEO, which is becoming more and more of an issue, as agents are educated, anything you can do to get people to visit your website is going to strengthen the your website presence when it comes to search engines, and your website populating higher up on those searches that people are running for homes in the area. These are just a few things. We have a lot of stuff that, this is scratching the surface on the organic lead gen, but I always tell, my clients that, listen, before you really start getting into the paid marketing, and this is my pitch, and Gary might disagree, but I say learn what your system can do for you organically, because once you've got that down, it's just like casting nets into an ocean or throwing more fishing lines into the water. You want to have multiple avenues or multiple ways for you to capture those leads. And the nice thing about digital marketing and the nice thing about all of this is that there's no cap on what you can do. You can have as many lines in the water as you want, and that's not cheating. This is an opportunity for you to build your clientele rapidly and successfully.
Yeah. So I want to get to there's two parts that we're going to get into, two other things here that Scott's going to kind of run, but I know I don't want to push too far on our time, but there are two things that I want to say about this before we bail out of it. One is, why should I have my own IDX website? I've already got a website, but maybe it's not IDX or plugged in your MLS or whatever. If you're relegating your inbound success to Zillow and Realtor.com, I just want you to ask yourself this question. By the time I get a lead from Zillow, how many other agents already know about them? And the answer is probably 8 to 10, right? And when you finally get a chance to talk to that person, if you do, they've probably already talked to 5 or 6 people. And then your conversation is why you're better than the other 5 or 6 people. You have to show them your success rates. If you're a newer agent, you don't have as much success. If you're an agent who's been doing it for a while, maybe you have a ton of success, but now you have to combat the lies or whatever else the other agent was telling them that they were trying to make themselves look better, right? When you have your own site, they came here looking for you. You capture that lead. You're not sharing it with anybody. And 70% of the time, the deal goes to the first agent to have the conversation. That's why you should do something like this. And secondly, when Scott's talking about using the Facebook pixels and such to share, this map here, if you will, or the map of the new home build area, or that particular property over there on 1642 Glenroy Drive, they love it. It's their dream house. Imagine if you picked a particular house that you're representing and you push that out on Facebook and you said something like, hey, here's our featured property for the week. You know the drill. Like this and share it, and I'll put you into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Something like that. What's that cost you? How many potential leads could you get? How many more people are going back to your website? Now your SEO is getting even better. And how many more leads are you going to get from that? So these are all those little things that you can start to do organically to start building up your build up your business. And it just excites me. I get some people like Star Wars and video games. I'm into marketing. Oh man, I love this geeky stuff. But if you talk to me, and I'll give you this promise, if you talk to me, even if you're not quite at that step where you want to do anything, I'll give you some tips and tricks and I'll help you out, okay? So let's get back here to the important part of the show where Scott is going to start guiding the thing. So setting up lead routing rules. Do you mind if I give the screen to you, Scott, there?
No, go ahead.
Right on. Here you go. And okay. So this is making sure that the leads are going to the right peeps. So.
Yeah. So we've talked about capturing leads, and we've talked a little bit about how you're going to bring those leads into your system. The lead routing rules and the ability to get those leads in the hands of the right people becomes extremely important in terms of conversion. You guys have probably all heard the stats that, if you're not getting out and reaching out or calling or connecting with somebody within the first 5 minutes of the lead coming in, your chances of conversion are going down hundreds of percent, meaning that you're rapidly losing the opportunity to turn that lead into a client. The other statistic that I like to talk about is that 70% of both buyers and sellers at this time go with the first agent that they talk to and connect with, meaning that if you can get to them quickly and bring value to the conversation, you have a 70% chance of turning that lead into a client, and that is very, very powerful. So with lead routing, it becomes a strategy of making sure that the leads that you have coming into your system from all the different sources, whether it's organic, whether they're coming into your website through just visiting it, or they clicked on that Facebook post and they came to your website, or your paid lead sources like Zillow, or Realtor.com, Homes.com, or 20 or 30 other different places where you can capture or purchase leads and have them ported into a system like Chime. It becomes a matter of making sure that you have an agent, buyer or seller, or buyer or sellers agents that are going to follow up with those leads quickly and efficiently. So most systems like this have a pretty robust lead routing opportunity or option within the platforms. What I like about ours and what we can do is really give you the opportunity to have limitless rules as to how you're going to push those out. So if you want to drill down to giving certain leads in a certain zip code to a certain agent that's working in that area, buyer or seller, you can set up that lead routing rule. If you want to set it up by a minimum price, you have the ability to do that. The other nice thing about our system is that really you have 3 different ways that you can disperse those leads. The first one being blast alert. Now, what a blast alert lead routing rule will do for you is it will allow you to disperse that incoming lead instantaneously to every single one of your agents. And the first agent to claim that lead is the one that works that lead. The lead goes into their name, and it's now being tracked in their CRM. The second lead routing rule is a round robin type of a rule where you might have 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 agents that you are dispersing leads to in an orderly fashion to make sure that it's fair and equitable across the board, especially if you're using your lead generation as one of your recruiting or marketing tools to bring good agents to your system. You want to make sure that they feel like it is an equitable transaction. The nice thing about the round robin rule also is that you have the ability to put a time limit on how long the person in the lead rotation has to follow up. Again, these leads are gold if you're contacting them quickly. If you're not, you might as well stop paying for leads. You might as well just burn that money, because at the end of the day, like Gary said, they've already talked to 5 or 6 different agents, and they're already on the radar of 8 more. So it's very, very important that the people that are in this round robin are getting to these leads quickly. So you can set a timeline from 1 second to as long as you want before it will move on to the next agent if no contact has been made. So the round robin rule is also very popular and very easy and equitable to set up. The third routing rule is kind of the traditional direct assign rule, where you can push leads that match specific criteria to a certain agent. I have a lot of clients that have agents that, maybe a majority of their agents work within a city area, 5 or 6 different zip codes, and then they've kind of got a satellite office or agent that works maybe a market that's more focused on second homes, or it's kind of different than the markets around that center of the focus for the brokerage itself. You have the opportunity to push those leads directly to that person. And then the other thing that I want to point out or touch on with this is that you have the ability to change the weight of the distribution with any of these rules. So, if you've got the round robin, maybe you're round robining between Michael Green and Rebecca Smith, but Michael Green is your top agent, Rebecca Smith is your new agent, and you're trying to work her and build her up into, being able to convert more of these leads into deals, but you can't let your ROI slip. So you've got to have Michael cover a majority of those in the beginning. You have the ability to weight the lead distribution in such a way that it's going to maximize your ROI at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Gary, anything that you would like to add, or you think any questions
No,
come to mind in terms of?
I think this is so important, and especially if you're trying to incentivize realtors to come work with you, then you need to show them that not only do you have the tools available for them to be successful, but also that you're an altruistic company that's going to make sure that they get everything that they're due. You're not hoarding all the hot leads, if you will, right? So you can make it very visible as to what the parameters are, what leads they're going to be getting, and that they can rest assured that they're going to get everything that they're due. You know what I mean, Scott? Hey,
yeah.
I actually have a quick question for you, kind of going back to something else we talked about. Wesley had a question. If somebody was taking a look at a home on the IDX site and we don't gate it right at the beginning, but we let them look at one or two homes and then we ask for their contact information. I don't believe we do this, but does it come over as a partial lead at that point, or only on the home evaluation part?
So if we gate it and then they give us partial information, it comes in as a partial lead.
But if they look at one property, we don't ask for anything. We're not going to know anything other than an IP address that we might be able to retarget, something like that.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So at that point, all we have is an IP address. So we don't even have a partial at that point. Where partial leads come into play is if they give us just their phone number, or they give us just their email address, or we don't have they give us just their first name.
Gotcha.
And we can't tie that all in. Now we do have a opportunity within our system to use a service that will go out and help find the missing information for those partial leads, and you as the agent have the opportunity to decide, hey, do I want to chase this one down, or is it worth it or not, which can be very, very powerful. But the nice thing about this and the cool thing about having a website that people are using is that, at the end of the day, if you're bringing value, there's an opportunity that even if you don't capture them on that first attempt, hopefully they will come back and be willing to give you their information. But, as Gary said earlier, statistics show that if you're not gating right away, that you're actually losing out on more leads than you would gain by not gating. And the pure reason for that, I believe, and this is just my opinion, is that at this point in time, people are getting very, very used to having to create an account, and it's getting very, very easy to do so because you can use credentials from other systems that you're already using, like Facebook, Google, and things like that. So we can vet you through those different platforms, and then you don't have to create a new password or remember anything different, and it just becomes a no-brainer. And then when you become a lead on the website, it's not just to capture your information and become a lead, but it's to give you the ability to have an account within the website where you can favorite properties, where you can save searches, where you can do things that you can come back to at a different time and pick up where you left off. And that's really an important part of having a tool like this, is it needs to be something that is easy to use.
Yes.
It gives you the ability to build upon it as that purchaser.
Okay. Hey, I want to get to the last bit here because we are coming up on the hour, and I know we got houses to sell. What? You like that? Anyway, I have a 10-year-old, and I constantly tell him that I'm woke and I like to keep it 100. I don't know what any of that means, but I say it and it embarrasses him in front of his friends. Anyway, Scott, let's go to the last part here. Let's optimize the ROI reporting tools. What do we got? How do we use it? And how do we make money with it?
Okay, so if you are purchasing a system, any system out there, and you are not using the reporting tools that come with that system, you are missing out on valuable data that will help you determine how you need to run your business or what you need to change. Really quickly, and I want to, oh, sorry, that's not what I meant to do. If you have a system that has the ability to drill down on the statistics and reporting, you can determine what needs to be done to make your business grow. Now, Tony Robbins has a story where he wanted to improve his golf drive. He wanted to hit the ball farther. Now, we all know that it takes strength to hit a golf ball far, but that is not the only thing that is important. Your form, your club face angle, there's a lot of things that go into helping you be more efficient and drive that golf ball 20, 30, 40, maybe even 100 yards further than you have before. Having a reporting tool and using the reporting tool from the individual agent perspective all the way up to the brokerage perspective gives you the ability to make those small tweaks and changes that will increase your ROI and your profitability many-fold. Within Chime, we break it down into agent accountability in terms of, what is the time ROI investment that your agents are putting into the leads that you are giving them or the leads they're working. How many people are they calling? How many times are they calling? How many emails are they sending? And to who are they sending those to? Text messages, the same thing. The nice thing about a reporting tool is that it can be very, very powerful. But the negative thing about a reporting tool is that if it is not intuitive and easy to use and extrapolate data from, it becomes burdensome. And we all know that none of you on this line have the time to dig through things that are burdensome and that are hard to do. You just don't have the time. You need to be out selling homes, and your focus is always, what's closest to the money. Well, that's great, and that's where you need to be, but you also need to know what strategies can you implement or employ to get you closer to the money in the future by focusing on those right metrics or performance indicators, as well as the right lead sources. So, within our reporting tool, go ahead.
If it can be measured, it can be improved.
Yep, exactly. So we've broken it down into 3 areas. Obviously, the first one being, your agent accountability. What are you as an agent doing to drive your own business? What is the effort that you're putting into this? We break it down into the business also. So that incorporates, what are your goals? What are you as the individual agent projecting for the year in terms of your volume, your closings, your gross commissionable income, and your revenue? Same with the brokerage. The nice thing about the Chime platform is that we use a predictive analytic that over time, as you're using this system, you're going to be able to see what your input will yield you. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. If you're only putting the same amount of effort in and you're expecting to grow your business, you're setting yourself up to fail. We've given you a system and an opportunity to be able to see what your effort is going to yield over time, and then give you the opportunity and the ability to see where that effort is being successful and where you might need to change. The funnel analysis here will allow you to drill down by the different lead sources. So you can analyze all of your lead sources individually to see, what's coming through this funnel. How many total leads do I have, and what is the conversion rate for that lead source? My Facebook leads converted an 8% rate. My Zillow leads converted a 2% rate. I'm spending just as much money on Zillow as Facebook. Why not put more money on Facebook and get rid of Zillow with the idea that you're going to double or gain a 6% lead conversion rate through doing that? So this gives you insights and abilities to be able to run your business. And then the third thing really is your marketing, your site traffic. The nice thing about Chime and the system is that we want you to be able to see what your website traffic is looking like. How many people are visiting? How many pages are they viewing? What's the average amount of pages that they're viewing? What's the most popular time that people are on your website, and so on and so forth, so that you can, again, maybe be available for your chat, from 6 to 9 o'clock p.m., because that's when people are on your website, and that's when they're most likely to reach out and connect with you through the chat functionality on your website. So Again, I'm going over this very quickly. Obviously, Gary or I or any of our account executives would love the opportunity to walk you through the very specifics of how this system works. But in terms of the reporting and the accountability aspect of this system, or any system, is you have to know your ROI. If you know where you're making your money and you know where you're losing your money, you can mitigate the loss and you can maximize the gain.
Yeah, that's awesome, Scott. Hey, we are coming to the end here, guys. So what I want to do now is open it up to questions. We've had a couple, and I've actually been asking them as we go along. So if anybody else has any additional questions, again, I know that we're pressing up on the hour here, and I appreciate you guys so very much. And like I said, and Scott actually said it too, we may be a good fit, we may not be a good fit. But if you feel like there would be value from talking to myself or Scott or somebody on our team and finding out a little bit more, whether you're already a Chime customer and you want to include the whole team, maybe you're using it as a single user, maybe you have multiple people but you don't have it set up right, or you haven't built out an IDX website or whatever that is. Like, we're here to help with no expectations other than your success, and hopefully you walk away with a little information to make you that much better. If you want to find out a little bit about geographic farming, that's another part of what we do, and it happens to be my expertise. We help you pinpoint an area that'd be good for farming. Which homes within that neighborhood, how often should you send messages? We build out the postcards. They're jumbo cards. We do it 1, 2, or 3 times a month. So we do a lot for lead generation there. We manage your Facebook ads for you. So there's a lot of different things we can do, but if you want to reach out to us, you can get us at chime.me /consult. You can set up a demo there. So chime.me /consult. Or heck, if you have a pen, I'm just going to jump to the chase here. Feel free to give me a call directly at 480-744-0838, or call our general number off the website. Whatever it is, I hope you got something. I hope you can say that this hour wasn't for naught, and that there was something derived from that, because we really appreciate you. Scott, you're amazing. You're way smarter than I, and it's no wonder you get paid twice as much.
None of that's true, but thank you.
Oh wait, somebody else. Okay, so the number again is 480-744-0838. But yeah, just let me know, or again, get in through chime.me /demo, and you'll be rounded off to an amazing person here who's an expert at lead generation and CRM. And yeah, thank you guys. I hope you have an amazing week. It's a long weekend for everybody but realtors, so go sell lots of houses. We love you, and thanks for letting me chime in. Get it? Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.